for the pledge? Yes, this morning, please. Ruth?
Oh, yes, a pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody like, what? Nobody's paying attention. Okay, do we have any exonerations or orders to combine, divide, segregate? Okay, well, we'll come back to it if they come. Vouchers and invoices. Any standouts?
No.
Okay, I move we approve the vouchers and invoices.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have several sets of meeting minutes that may not have been printed out yet, but
They are printed, however,
Comment.
121 was saved twice.
131
Or
was saved.
131 was saved as 121, so we don't have any 121.
I'll get this.
that's
back
the
to you.
mistake I made when I was talking to you on the phone.
I remember you. So other than 121, we have minutes.
We have minutes. Okay, so let's go through and say which minutes we have. We have the minutes from, let's do it in order. January 5th, January 31. So we're missing January 21 because I saved over. I couldn't find my 31 edits, and then apparently that's where they were. I'd saved them over 21. February 4th and February 10th. Outstanding are still February 16th and 23rd. So I move that we approve January 5th, 31st, February 10th, and 4th.
No second.
All those in favor?
Oh, I
Aye.
said,
You
oh,
said all. Hilarious. Any estate settlements?
I don't have any.
Okay, Ruth.
Okay. So the first thing is the resolution approving invoices related to the Armstrong PSD deep water and Hamilton water system project.
Leslie Taylor's on if you have any questions.
Who is?
Leslie Taylor.
This is a community development block grant.
that's on their water upgrade. CSX, they had to pay them in order to go across. And then Region 4 got their $189. So I'll move
No, they
to
just have to-
approve this invoice.
Let me just take a look real quick. I haven't seen it yet. So this is just to use the grant money?
Yeah, basically, they'll submit this, we'll get the money, and then once we receive the money, we send out the checks. So we don't even spend it until the money's.
All we're doing is just a pass through on that.
Right.
Okay, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the next thing is the MOU with the Women's Resource Center. If you have questions.
Anthony and Ridley both signed it.
Yeah, they've already, Anthony and Frederick both already signed it.
And as our lawyer, you've clearly reviewed it for that purpose too, right, Anthony?
Yeah. Some time ago.
Okay. All right, this is the same thing we did last year, is it not?
Yep.
Okay. Move we approve the MOU with the Women's Resource Center.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You
Aye.
have to sign five copies
Yes.
in blue ink, and they're all.
I have blue ink. Okay. Thank you. All right, keep moving on. I'll get back to the 5 copies.
So the next thing is the West Virginia opioid. I can't talk today, the MOU.
Did you read that one, Anthony?
Yes.
Yeah, we've already
The
discussed.
reason I'm laughing is, you know, there's a page that says that you are on board, there's a You have an option of checking yes, we're on board, and checking an option where you object, and I don't think objecting is necessarily going to change anything other than to let it know that you object. According to what I read in here, Fayette County is supposed to get $1.5 million.
Yeah.
1.489 to be specific.
With some serious strings on how we spend it, but
Yeah.
better than anything we had.
But the reality is, I think this litigation is speculative to a degree. I think it would be very difficult to quantify. I mean, clearly there's a cost to the opioid problem.
Right, and it far exceeds the settlement amount, but it is difficult to quantify.
You know, I just don't know how you convince a jury that because of the opioid problem, we have incurred this much in damages.
Mhm.
I mean, a jury can give us more, but a jury can absolutely concede less. So
And is this money earmarked for anything?
there's, in the agreement, there's restrictions on how money can be spent.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning.
I just wanted to get
Most
it
of
on
the
the record.
money actually doesn't go to government entities, most of the money goes into, oh, I forget exactly how they,
Like a foundation.
yeah, kind of, some kind of trust.
Right, the 5013C that's going to largely cost the majority of the money to run.
That was a concern by
But
the.
20, if I remember correctly, yeah, 25% roughly goes to local government entities and cities, counties, all across the state.
Mhm.
Do you know, is there a second one pending? Because I talked to Mike, he sent me a message Monday, and said I still have to do my deposition, or is there two separate ones? going
I
on?
think there must be, because I asked Ruth that same question, because you had been in there talking about, you had talked about that the day, and then either later that day or the next day, we had heard about this. And then I asked her if that was the one that you were involved in, and she
Is
didn't
it
think
the
so.
same, is it the same one you were on the call for? Amy? That,
Mike Callahan's.
Yes, well, no, Mike Callahan is something different, yeah.
The plaintiff's
Well,
attorney.
See,
Mike
this is,
Wolfe.
I thought
Mike
this was
Wolfe.
Mike Wolf.
Okay.
And
And
Mike
he-
Callahan's on a different totally thing.
Yeah,
but did
everybody's
they,
saying Mike.
what about? the
Which Mike were you-
depositions?
They
Which
had-
lawyer?
Callahan, I think?
No, you
No,
were
it's
dealing
Mike
with Mike
Wolfe.
Which
Wolfle.
one is it?
Wolfle.
So it is the same one.
Okay.
But
And he had,
There's
later in the
different
meeting,
plaintiffs.
yeah,
There's
later in the
different-
meeting, they said they were possibly gonna cancel the
there's
depositions.
different plaintiff's attorneys listed on this MOU.
I'll shoot him a text today, make sure, because I wasn't for sure, and I've already got off, he's already set the dates and stuff, because we're going to do it Zoom or something, they were. And last year, if they did it, he was only for 8 hours.
You can, I'll hand you my copy of this so you can see what it is. But anyway, it's something or nothing as far as I'm concerned. So I move that we approve the MOU.
I think that's a fair
A second.
assessment.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Signature block. And then the last item is the letter to the state leaders.
Now, this is local and this is like delegates, senators and everything, right?
Right,
All the way up to.
state and federal.
mansion.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Yes.
we need to, Amy, we need to fix, there's a font issue down in the second footnote.
Okay.
See, just looks like it's still in that Courier instead of Time.
Yep, that's it.
Hmm. Colleagues, you have any comments, changes, concerns?
No, I like it.
Don?
straightforward. And once I got that one answer, then that was great.
Okay, sweet. I move that we approve the letter to our federal, state representatives requesting support and funding for infrastructure and economic development, since we have not received a cent from anybody since national park designation
I'll
Second.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so got that going on. Trying to find out where we are.
Share.
Yep,
Morning.
good morning.
Real quick, this is something we talked about last 2 years. It's the reminder cards that go out for taxes.
Mm-hmm,
Remind everybody, in 2020, we gave out 11,706 cards. It was a cost of $5,353, but we got a $500 discount on our first time we did it. In 2021, we gave out 10,530 of them, and our cost was $5,781.56 or 36 of them. Reason I come to y'all again, this isn't in my budget, this is something the commission paid for last 2 years. Maybe if we're gonna keep doing this, we need to look at that next year's budget meeting. The cost is gonna be 15 cents per card, and then of course postage at 40 cents. I don't have an idea how many we'll be sending out, you know, like I said, last year was 10,530. I think this year we'll really be able to tell if they work or they don't, because they have worked in the past 2 years because of all the stimulus money and stuff, so that's why I'm asking for, if we can get this approved. If so, then we'll go out in the middle of this month again for reminders.
How much total do you think it'll cost us?
Again,
Give us a swag.
I'm saying we've been around $5,700 each year. You know, if you take the 53 and you take 500 from that, so it's it's around the same amount now. Do I have an idea how many we're going to send out? No, I don't. I mean, but it was 11,706 cards in 2020. Last year was 10,530. So I'm saying right around that number.
Okay, so we can do a pre-approval up to $5,800.
yeah, and frankly, that's within Tom's discretion
Ruth.
as well, not because it's sheriff's.
Oh, that's right.
But I do think you ought to start including that in your budget. We could even do that this year, could we not?
This year, I already wrote them on this.
Okay,
Because
Just a postage line item, basically.
yeah, and get it that way, because I think it's a good idea, you know,
So from this
as
time.
one of
forward,
your
Yeah.
clients,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So and again, we were just playing with this the last 2 years, and we didn't know if we were gonna keep doing it. We didn't know what feedback got. It's helped the last 2 years receiving tax.
It has helped, and I don't know how much room is on the cards, but if there's ever like a, you know, a message we want to send or something like about a comp plan or something like that, it might be helpful to add it.
Here's what they look, that's really somebody's.
Yeah, there's no room to anything.
No,
Never mind.
sorry about that. Thank you.
Nix that idea, but thanks a lot. Yeah, I think those are effective, so
All
it's a
right,
good
thank
idea.
you.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk?
You guys have an order in your packet. Basically, the code says that once we've set an early voting location, as long as the county clerk is in agreement with the county commission, we can continue using that without the publication requirements.
Okay,
So this was our agreement. If you guys sign it.
okay. Is Montgomery Community Center, that's the new location?
That's the
in
new one,
Montgomery?
yes, the current.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I move that we approve this order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Joe. Let's take a quick, do you need a break? Well, we can listen to his and do one, or, you know, if you need one, I was just checking. We're ahead a little bit. Okay,
We are rocking.
all right,
this
Joe,
morning.
we're ready to go.
See the salary wages dropped about $1,000, $76,000 for salaries, wages of employees, $5,900 for FICA tax, Social Security.
Can you back up 1 second? Who are the employees that are paid out of this budget?
Myself and Becky.
Becky's full salary?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, go ahead.
$24,384 for group insurance expense. $725 for vision and dental. $7,600 for retirement expense. I didn't budget anything for overtime or extra help this time around. Travel, $10,000. That is if we decide to go to any seminars or out to the fire department instructor conference in Indianapolis in April, if they have it. They've canceled it the last couple of years because of the COVID pandemic. Maintenance and repair is pretty much the same year in, year out. That's the yearly testing that's required by NFPA. I dropped it down $50,000 from $250,000 to $200,000 because I've always got over $100,000 left over that I turn back in at the end of each fiscal year. $21,000 for building and equipment rental. Once we get our building at the training center built, I'm going to eliminate that expense other than the $12,000 that we've got for the rent on the office space out at the center. Legal ads, $5,000. That's for anything we have to put out for bids. $175,000 for materials and supplies. That's pretty much been what we've been using for the last 8 years. Training center, I only asked for $350,000. That's just basically to put the garage up, and we're looking at a hazardous materials trainer that's about $95,000. Capital outlay is $100,000. That's just basically a rainy day fund. $1,077,801 in expenses for the budget. The estimated collections on taxes is estimated to be $2,128,000. Estimated levy expenditures, $2,277,412. On the second page, you see the distributions for each fire department for the year, for the fiscal year 22-23. Pumper replacement allotments for the departments that got trucks this past year, $45,000 for each department.
How are things allocated among the departments? Is that by population in the area, or how do you guys determine who gets what?
Population.
How's the state do it?
The state just does it evenly.
That's what I thought. I just want to.
Yeah, the state does it evenly.
I just want to let the other two commissioners understand that. I've already read all the code and everything. I just wanted them to be understand.
Budget's pretty well within the anticipated income of the levy tax collections. Excess revenue left over from previous levies. No major purchases over and above the normal operating expenses, and there's no other changes or additions.
Back up just a minute. Under the group insurance expense, it went up quite a bit. I just wondered what you attribute that to.
That's just what we used on the formulas that they put out. And Ruth sent the expense formulas. It's just how I had it up.
We adjust all the insurance expense
Okay.
based on what's actually coming out, so those are.
Okay, and the $10,000 for travel is for only 2 people to travel? Or for,
Well, if we go out to Indianapolis to the fire department instructors conference, it would be for myself and the officers of the fire association. Three of those.
That makes more sense. Okay, publication. Because when you guys, in deciding like what you need, like this hazmat trainer and whatever, does the fire association vote on that? Is that how
Yes.
those things are prioritized? Okay. Guys have any more questions?
No, I just want to ask Joe one more for the other two commissioners. Each fire department, how many accounts do they have?
Money account?
Checking accounts.
Well, they have a state insurance account
Mhm.
and they have a general account that they usually use for, that they get donations from citizens and fundraisers, and then the fire levy.
I just want to know the commission.
Right.
I found out in my reading of the state code, and looking at budgets that the state checks.
So is the way it works, do they come in, do you allocate the funds right away to them and then they get to spend how they want out of their fire levy account? Or do they have to submit things to you and then get it approved and then you give them the money?
Municipalities, Oak Hill and Fayetteville get
Mhm.
a quarterly cut of their money. And the rest of the departments have to submit invoices. If a department spends, let's say $7,500 in a quarter on invoices and bills and such, they'll send those in to me. And if it's a valid levy expense, then I approve it and send it up, and a check is issued for the amount of the invoices.
And why are Oak Hill and Fayetteville treated differently than the rest of the?
That was something that was done back in, 2010. We had done that. We had a meeting where everybody was supposed to have submitted invoices. And a meeting was held without basically the fire association or the fire coordinator back then of being present. And the city said that's too much work on their city treasurer. And they asked to have the quarterly funding. And the previous commission back then agreed to it. And being municipality departments where the city treasurer controls the money, would have been Fayetteville and Oak Hill. So that's what they decided to do with Fayetteville as well.
Yeah, and the only problem I have with that, and I'm gonna let the other two commissioners know, Oak Hill and Fayetteville get 2 or 3 times the money that the other departments get. Fayetteville don't?
No, it's just Oak Hill.
Is it because Fayetteville has a fire levy?
Fayetteville gets the same amount of money through this fire levy as every other department.
Okay, I might be mistaken on that. Then.
You're probably referring that they have a city funded.
That's what, I have a city fire
Yes.
levy. That's why I mentioned
Yes,
the city fire levy. They're the only,
it's not a fire levy, it's just part of their budget.
I think the way it's worded, it is considered a fire. It doesn't say fire levy, but it's for the fire levy. It's for the fire department.
Fire department.
Yeah, right. The way it's worded. And they're the only ones that have that in the county. They're the only municipality that has that.
Then Oak Hill.
Oak Hill has one. And they still get, I think Oak Hill gets $150,000. I'm from Oak Hill. but they get $150,000 compared to the other small amount. I just, one of the other commissioners, I didn't know whether they knew that or not, but this one didn't be aware of it.
Joe, when do you get audited?
Each department does their own audits.
No, what about you?
Well, that's with our audit, isn't it?
It's part of what they're going through.
Okay, so have they come out and spent time with you?
He sends it all through me. I emailed him some questions.
Oh, okay, all right. And each department gets audited yearly?
I keep a copy and I send a copy.
Is it yearly or by,
Yearly.
is that the law, the new law that went into effect?
That's part of their levy agreement that for them to receive their money, they have to have an audit. They have to have their levy money audited. Now, the other
There's a
stuff
separate one that.
it's a separate one. They
From the
get
state, right?
From the state.
The
yeah.
state just picks
State
random-
just
Randomly
randomly
picks.
does
Yeah,
theirs.
yeah, I've looked at all of them too.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm asking these questions, but did you put a copy? I didn't see a copy of the ads that you ran for the, all the bids and stuff that was going on for the fireplace.
There's paperwork in my office. It's this day.
Okay. All right, just wanted to make sure. And then what about all of the mapping?
They've got till Friday to get at 4 o'clock to get it in. And if they don't have it in, then she does what is on file now. So I told them at the last fire association meeting, and Mark Bass told them the same thing.
Okay, who doesn't have their mapping in?
I think there's been maybe like 4 or 5 departments.
Can you,
I would have to get daily in the ask, because I know a bunch of them turned them in. I know a bunch of them turned them in the Monday after the last fire association meeting.
Okay, well, if you
I
can
think
let,
there's only about 4 that don't have it.
okay, if you can give that information to Ruth, that would be appreciated, that who doesn't have it.
And I'm actually planning on going to their fire meetings next week to get there.
Well, I don't know about the other commissioners, but if they're too busy to get us the mapping, maybe we should be too busy to send them their money.
I don't know if we can legally do that.
Well,
I mean, it's an idea.
well, but I just can't,
I've actually done that with some of them to make them do their audits.
You know, what the sad part about it is, it ain't about the 3 commissioners, it's about the people of Fayette
Oh,
County.
I agree.
That's what concerns
I agree.
me. I'm not, it's not about us, it's about the people of Fayette County.
Well, I also keep in mind, I think the departments that hadn't gotten it in yet are the ones that aren't as well funded and that are, are more rural and maybe haven't had the manpower or the time to put into it yet. I mean, they weren't the major big ones, were they? Yeah, I didn't think so. So let's see how they do. I mean, those guys are volunteering as it is, but we can just say, look, seriously, we'll sit here with you, help us, if there are only that many, Ruth, we can, Ruth has emailed Daylin, so don't worry, she'll get that information, but we can ask Daylin to go to each of those fire departments and work with them if there are only 4 or 5 left, and, schedule an appointment and sit down and do it. So, okay, well, sweet. And if you want to split with her and figure out how to do it, divide labor, it's anything that will help them to get it done. It might just be an issue of time. That's what I figured. Okay, anything else, colleagues?
no.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thanks, Joe. All right, you want that break real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Hand that to Amy.
All right, we'll do 10 minutes.
Thank you.
And this is,
So I'll once Teresa's done, you can do yours.
huh?
Once
Yeah.
Teresa's done, you can do hers.
Do you have any of the one we just did,
Oh,
the budget?
I just handed it.
Oh, you did, then. Okay, Miss Gregory, are you ready to roll? All right. Well, just about everybody in this room, well, all the electeds went through it the first time last year, so they feel your pain.
Thank you.
And would you mind stepping up here so we could hear you? Or I could hear you?
Right in their faces.
Why is it backwards anyway? I don't know.
What is this? You're making her more welcome than Joe.
Well, actually, I didn't even notice that until.
Oh, okay.
She's feeling sorry for me about that. Oh, good morning.
Good
I
morning.
don't know if you all wanted the salary and wages first, but the order that I put this paperwork in, I'm just gonna start there if that's okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for letting me be here. And another thing is about budget and money today, but I would like you all to know that, and to preface all this by saying that DRC is changing and growing, and that we are doing everything in the spirit of true public service. And we're getting a bigger picture over there, and folks are coming on board, and we know that we have to be fiscally responsible. And even though we don't see the money every day there is a cost. There's a great cost. So we're doing, we're getting aware, we're educating everybody, and I think I've got support and we're on board over there. So I got some good stuff to show you besides the money that we want. So salary and wages, there is a significant increase, it seems to be anyway, from last year's budget. And I have a breakdown of that further on down. Of course, the fact that all those go with that retirement expense, the telephone utilities, those remained the same. We can't really change that, but the one good thing coming out is on 219, our building equipment and rents, since we're not paying rentals, since we have a new building over there, that cost is completely gone now. So we're still paying utilities, but we're not paying any rent. Professional services. It's kind of crazy that that's a zero, what we're requesting, but previously we were paying out of our budget, we were paying a psychologist and a counselor and some other folks to come in and do counseling on a part-time basis, I think. But now with the partnership to the DHR and the state and the Compass Counseling and Generations are the ones that they're using. They're sending them to us. We have two, I don't want to say full-time, they're there at least Tuesdays and Thursdays all day. They provide individual treatments and group treatments, trainings to the participants, but as well as the other days that they're needed, they do come there. Now, the way they get paid is they bill DHR for certain services. 90% of the participants at DRC fall into that category. They are billable. The small percentage that are not, they still provide services too. They don't differentiate. It doesn't matter if they can bill for it or not. So every client they're seeing, every time they're there, or if they're special needs, they're on call 24 hours a day. We utilize them as much as we can, and they are very beneficial. So it's more than part-time, but it's very beneficial. So that eliminates that cost. So we're not paying anybody for our counseling and professional services now. Contracted services. That number is up from 35,000 budget to 57,000. And real quick, just so you know what contracted services are, that breaks down into three different services we're paying by contract. BI is the GPS monitoring service we use. So we use their equipment and their software. The Mercedes Scientific is the drug testing supplies that we buy to do drug testing with, which I've got some numbers on that in a minute, so you'll see where that's what we're paying versus what we're paying. And then the third and last one is Q Labs. They're our drug testing confirmation laboratory. So when we have positive tests, we have to keep those off to confirmation because we just have the instant test. And if it's going to court, then that has to be confirmed. So So for grand totals, there you see at the bottom where we, and I hope I'm not completely wrong here, this is where being a newbie really kind of stinks, because the way we move the money and the way we've gotten rid of certain costs, the new requested budget is only $80 more than last year. Even though you see a significant increase in the salary and wages, but I've got a breakdown of that in just a second. All right, this page, this sideways page, this is the good news. I'm really excited for you all to see this and to hear this. Might be the best news I have to give you anyway. I know the jail bill is astronomical, and I know that you're always looking for ways to decrease that. We put together some numbers. We did an audit. I was missing some records for certain periods of time, so I had to do the audit for the calendar year 2021. I couldn't do it for fiscal year. So this first section is a little skewed if you're looking at fiscal year monies, but it'll give you an idea anyway over a 12-month period. The use of day report center and GPS monitoring eliminated cost of incarceration through the West Virginia Regional Jail Authority. For that 12-month period, day report monitoring saved, and that's at the per diem rate, $488,531. GPS monitoring saved us $483,000. So combined, that's $972,000 that we saved in jail bill just through those two services from the center there. Actually, GPS monitoring calculated out at $538,000, but we had to deduct the annual cost, the 12-month cost, which was $54,000 for the equipment and the software. So that one does cost us a bit, but it's still a substantial savings.
Just as a reminder, we discussed, or just as a point of interest, we discussed last year our willingness to pay for the monitoring for people who couldn't afford the monitoring. If you set up a process to vet them for that, because again, it's cheaper for us to pay for their monitoring than the jail costs.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure that, and I don't know, Anthony, I don't know what's happened, if we've been doing that or what, but or if we voted on it or it. Remember when we discussed the commission's willingness to pay for GPS monitoring for those who could not afford it,
Right.
in lieu of sending them to jail? I mean, of course, we would have to, I guess, get some cooperation from the judges on that matter. But I mean, I feel like if they qualify for indigent defense counsel, that should be that's a fine process as far as I'm concerned to.
I mean, I don't believe that issue's been addressed.
I think one of the discussions was there was two different monitors. Is that correct? Am I remembering?
There's
Home confinement that sheriff does.
There's a
Yeah.
GPS home confinement program to the sheriff's department, and then there's also one through day report.
I think we was going to try to get on the same page. What I remember the conversation. I said, I wish I'd got the credit for it.
And
Because you're
it's
right,
my
yeah.
understanding,
Wasn't
the
mine, I
way
got
the
it from
judges prefer
Nicholas
to
County.
handle it is they misdemeanors and pretrial defendants, they want them over at the day report center, and then people that are convicted of felonies and their sentences administered as an alternative sentence through home confinement, they want those people watched through the sheriff's department, was my understanding. So realistically, the sheriff's department's DRC, home confinement monitoring isn't going to affect us in terms of the jail bill, because if it's administered the way the judges wanted to administer, they're only supervising people who have been given an alternative sentence in felony case. So the state's going to pay for that. If they weren't on GPS home confinement in the sheriff's department, they'd be in prison, and the state would be picking up the tab. But
Okay.
insofar as the DRC is concerned, I mean, we certainly have the ability, the county commission certainly has the ability to do that. Sometimes the judges will waive fees, and sometimes they'll waive the fees for the first month and the hookup fee. But it depends,
But somebody absorbs that fee. Who absorbs it when they waive it?
well, basically, the DRC would have to hit
Yeah.
it. I mean, at the end of the day, if the judge orders that they don't have to pay anything, but there seems to be a tendency, Judge Blake doesn't seem to allow anybody the ability to waive it. Judge is a little more receptive to it. But, I mean, to be honest, I can't think of I don't know the situation where we've had a defendant that was given the option of remaining out on bond and having GPS monitoring as a condition of the bond where the issue was brought up. And of course, that would be a function of DRC. They'd have to notify me and let me know that, hey, this person's, and I'm sure it happens. I'm sure people on GPS monitoring from time to time don't pay what they're supposed to pay. But realistically, I haven't had DRC bring that to my attention. So I think what we might want to do is, if we have a budget item for the county, I think the appropriate thing would be for Teresa to notify my office that the person's not paying and to see if we can provide some kind of assistance.
Could we
Okay.
go ahead and put it in her budget if a certain amount?
Well, I mean, if we're putting it in the DRC's budget, there's no need to have this discussion. I mean, I think we're talking about situations where people otherwise can't afford it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, but it really needs to start with the judges. So if somebody says, I can't afford to their counsel, I can't afford the monitoring, which I've had that client say that to me before, like, you know, they just can't afford anything.
I can't recall ever having seen a defense attorney say, my client can't afford this.
Oh, my clients have told me they can't afford it.
Well, I'm not saying that clients haven't said it to their attorneys,
Yeah.
but the problem is the defense, in fairness, if defense counsel stands up and says, my client can't pay for this, they're probably going to end up being sent to the SRJ.
Well, and that's in
But
there.
that's the reason why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, is so the judges are aware that, you know, if they can't afford it, that, you know, if they're an indigent defendant, that we would be willing to
And then
pay
try
that
to-
rather than the jail
And then
fees.
try to recoup that as,
Community
cost.
service, yeah,
well, we could recoup it as court costs.
yeah, we
I
could.
mean, to the extent that defendants pay court costs.
I'd rather just use it, just have them work it off in community service at DRC and then, you know, just like use a minimum wage hourly rate to show that they're paying it off with the number of hours they work.
Give them the documents to show the court, and we've done that.
Yeah, and they can do, and we can actually ask the judge just to make that part of it is, okay, if you can't afford it, you have to do X number, do the math for them and tell them what it is, but X number of hours of community service, you know, to pay for this, let them know how many days, you know, what it costs and all that stuff. And then maybe they can sentence them to community service that day report. So they're working it off. Maybe that's a way to go.
Okay, well, it sounds to me like we need to come up with some kind of.
I agree. Can you guys come up with something, even if you come up with a plan, we could put it in the form of a letter to the judges from all of us saying, here's what we're willing to do. You know, come up with a plan and just present it to us, and then we can send the judges, say, you know, they brought us this plan, we think it's a good idea. You know, and we're willing to offset, you know, these expenses.
To the extent, I mean, there's going to be scenarios, I'm guessing, where somebody's going to end up violating, and they're not going to be in a position to work off the costs. In those instances, I could certainly have my staff ask that be assessed as part of the court costs.
Yeah.
Plenty of trash to be picked up.
Well, yeah, well, when he's talking about court costs, that means money that never gets paid.
Yeah.
Unless
It rarely gets paid.
maybe 1 or 2% of the people who want their driver's license back might
But
get around to paying it.
Under the new bill that passed a couple of years ago, they don't take a driver's license anymore. And basically, what the law says is you have 6 months to pay your fines and court costs, or alternatively, you have to pay your fines and court costs pursuant to a reasonable payment plan established with the court. And I've actually seen some defendants go into the circuit clerk's office and set up a payment plan where they're paying $25 a month.
Oh, I definitely think we should ask for it. I was just creating a little
But
expectation
They're
management.
giving people a little more incentive to pay the fines and court costs. The other thing they're doing now is they're allowing for income tax refund seizure to be applied for payment of court costs. Again, to the extent that subsequently works.
Okay, well,
And, well, I mean, that goes actually to the next section for the day report fees. It's only $30 a month. But sometimes they don't have a lot of motivation to pay those, even though they may have funds. We're working on a couple program adjustments to actually help encourage them through non-monetary incentives to pay their $30, just to basically build a good habit of paying bills.
mhm.
And we can see it there. I mean, when they come in and they can buy cigarettes and they can talk about, what restaurant they went to, then they can definitely pay.
Have a cell phone, yeah.
So it is, it's prioritizing, do you want we've discussed some things like giving them the pick of which community service duties they want to do if they're paid up on the fees versus saying, you guys get to go pick up all the trash today. So, I mean, there are ways to work it and to encourage the better participation and paying the fees. And so we're trying, we're playing with it right now. We're starting to put it in writing, and we're going to hopefully present that.
And you can probably let them make payments too if you wanted to.
We already do that. Some of them pay $5 a week, but there are a few that actually pay. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you all the discussion. But we are going to try to encourage them to pay there at the center for what we can
Okay,
get.
good.
So, but yeah, 972 total there. And like I said, we paid the 54,802 for the GPS monitoring service and equipment last year. However, there were some, I had some questions on a couple of the bills, and I realized that we were paying for some equipment that we weren't actually using. They were charging us for some stuff that we weren't using. So we rounded up what we had. We rounded up the missing equipment. We turned it back in, and they will stop billing us for those. So we're looking for a significant decrease in our GPS bill each month as well. Revenue, our collections of revenue. We've got 4 sources of revenue over there. Drug courts, DHHR drug screening, GPS monitoring fee collection, and day report fee collection. Pretty much in those orders where the largest sums of money are coming from.
Is family treatment court under DHHR drug screening?
Yes, they do send for drug, yes.
Okay. Because family treatment court is a Supreme Court program, which would make me think the Supreme Court would reimburse those.
Yes, we do.
Rather
It comes, they pay through DHHR to us,
Okay.
even for the family treatment court.
Okay,
So the adult drug court billing is separate, 2 separate invoices, but yeah, it does come back to us.
okay.
We are seeing a big increase because we're convenient now. We're really close to DHHR building. We're seeing a big increase. We got 4 just yesterday, 4 referrals. We get a couple of referrals typically every couple of days. Yesterday, we got 4 more referrals for drug screening for DHHR. And those are high bill items because they ought to be sent for confirmation. There's a lot that hinges on those tests, so they rely on them a lot. And we're doing more and more of that. Like, we stay busy through the day just with street traffic coming in for their tests. So,
When they come in to screen, who do you provide the results back to?
well, we
For the
give them a
DHHR
copy. Yes, we give them a copy to take back to their their worker. And then we also provide, a lot of times the results don't make it over, so we actually call and share them back an email to DHHR. Now, the actual results themselves come back on the confirmation testing, and we keep those on file. But usually they don't dispute anything, but we have it in their file on their records.
Anthony, would it help your office to get its own copy? Anthony's office is counsel for the DHHR in those cases.
Okay.
So Chris Burdick over there, I was asking because I know a lot of times the department, because they're just run ragged, they don't get it. But, you know, if you put a copy in a file and, you know, had somebody take them over to Anthony every few days or something.
I mean, Chris Burdick handles all of use of that cases, but you can get them to the office and give them to.
Absolutely.
the Receptionist,
That's no
she
problem.
can make sure they get to Chris.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the same thing for any others you have, and then they'll have their own copy, you know, on any kind of case, drug court or whatever.
Right.
If you can segregate them between criminal cases, use neglect, and then just bring the stacks over. You're gonna have to put a case number on the case number on the drug screen results.
The case number is on their referral form from this, so we could take it from there and then be able to separate them. Yes.
So if it's got a JA, it's an abuse neglect case. If it has a B or an F
Or an N,
or an M, then it's a criminal case.
or JD also. is
JD
criminal
and
thing.
JA.
We normally send them to youth reporting, but
JA and JD. We'll get them where they need to go.
Absolutely.
It's more of an issue with JA cases, I think. than criminal.
yeah, that's the area where the breakdown happens, where they don't get the screens like right when they need them. And it's great having you here too, because a lot of times we'll have somebody show up impaired to an MDT meeting. And rather than get the judge to order them to go to probation, you know, we could send them right over to you instead and have them screened, because we don't want them participating in a meeting when they're impaired. A meeting that
It wasn't
affects their,
possible before.
yeah, it was a mess. So that's something we probably need to let defense attorneys know, that that's an option, and guardians ad litem to people
Absolutely.
taking those cases.
You know, and since we've been in the new building, well, since I've been there, we take turns. We never, no more than two of us leave the building at a time, except in rare cases. So that we always have a male and female there. We don't really have specific drug testing times, as long as our doors are open for drug tests. We have somebody there to drug test, so,
I think that's a great idea,
yeah.
because I think previously, it seemed like the window for drug screening kept shrinking.
Yes.
And we got to the point where you basically had to get there between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and
I was like 10 and 10:15.
I mean.
I had trouble getting my clients there.
It
It was changing.
This is pre-Teresa, so my comments are not direct. It got to the point where, quite frankly, I thought it was a little ridiculous. It was clearly being done for the convenience of probably a certain former DRC director, rather than anybody else's.
For the mission, right?
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, I don't understand why we couldn't start it at 9 a.m. and continue until 3, but it got to the point where they just kept whittling down the.
That's what we do. And if for some reason somebody is indisposed across the street, if we're in court, and they needed a female, you know, they text me as soon as I can. They just take a seat in the lobby. We give them a bottle of water if they want it, and then I run right over and we take care of what we need to do. So there's no window now. It's just when the doors are open, we'll test.
What?
And it's great.
Yes.
Well, since we're talking about it, I'll go ahead and jump into something I wanted to talk about with salary and wages, and I'm asking for a reallocation of a part-time person to a full-time. And that is the reason, because if we do that and we don't have to worry about overtime, if we can adjust our schedules, the plan is, we already have it, we've already all decided between us that we're going to do it, but we want to start offering at least one late evening a week where we're there till 6 or 7 o'clock, so that we can get, believe it or not, some folks need to drug screen, in the evenings because they work through the day. We need to do that. We need to, and while we're there, we can offer an NA, an AA, or our therapists. They've even said that, they can come in because they can do billable services during those times as well.
Has the BIPS program?
No, it has not. I don't have a BIPS facilitator yet. I know of some, but they're not on our payroll. And one of the generations lady that's over there right now, she said she's willing to go through BIPS facilitator, but I don't know who's going to pay for that for her. I don't know if she has yet.
How much is it?
I don't know. I can't give you an exact cost. I know it's a lengthy training and it is kind of costly, but I wouldn't say, I couldn't even give you a guess, but I'm going to say it's under $1,500.
Well, and, obviously that's something worth absorbing because BIPS will make a lot of money. So just, let us know or let Ruth know. Ruth can approve that for you.
Very good.
I think we should, if we're gonna pay for it, we should ask for some type of a minimum.
Commitment. Yeah. Yeah, but she put on, if we have 6-month commitment, even they put on, a certain number of classes, that's gonna, like how long, well, maybe one
The
full
class-
class, they have to do one class.
Yeah, the class itself.
They'll pay for it.
Is 28 weeks. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a long class. So if they complete one class as a requirement, then that would pay for itself. You had enough people in the class.
Yes, it would. So yeah, I sidetracked. Sorry, guys. And these are apples to oranges. The incarceration cost at the top was calendar year. Our revenue collections, I've given you the printouts from this year's accounting system for the fiscal year, actually the last 3 fiscal years, just to show what kind of growth we're talking about. And this is no reflection of new building and relocation or new administration. I'm just saying that this is where we are. You see in 1920 that we did 26,005. In 2021, we dipped a little bit, 25,383. But for the first 7 months of 2021, or excuse me, 2022, and they're in the order there. We're already setting at $23,650 collected. Now, since we did these print-offs and since I've even done this presentation, we've already collected more. We deposited an additional $4,800 a few weeks ago, or no, excuse me, $4,800 in billing process through DHHR and adult drug court. And we've submitted another $2,000 invoice to DHHR. I'm trying to catch up on the billing. It was a little behind. But at any rate, we're already sitting at $28,470 in revenue collections right there for this fiscal year. And just like yesterday, I made $1,015 cash deposit over there for GPS fees and pay report fees. So that's nothing to sneeze at. It's numbers. So that's it. That's as truthful as I can be with the numbers. They don't lie.
On the Warm Hands for Warm Hearts, I have some concerns about it because it's not a government entity. So I think we might want to revisit that.
As far as I know, since about mid-January, 1st of February, we're not, I don't think we're participating in that for community service. or
Okay, because I'm sure there's plenty like down at the park and other things
Yes, exactly.
where the county could use the
Yes,
help.
and we do always.
And they
try-
have a pretty good budget and staff over at Warm Hands and Warm Hearts, from what I understand.
Yes, and we do have number one priorities, which is our county. As far as community service, we always accommodate those folks first. Before we send everybody out for the day, we make sure we send priorities. And I'm telling you, they really love They really love going to the Memorial Building, and that's a really great one because that's, males, females, they can go over there, they can just work all day. That's a really good resource for it, and they've been really busy over there, so they've been getting a lot of help these last few weeks with what he's had going on. So that one works out really good. We get a lot of hours to put in over there. Excuse me. And of course, the grant funding, the last grant award we got was 110.5 from the Justice and Community Services, and it is grant time again. So the new grant application is going to be done here in a couple days, is going to be requesting significantly more than that. Of course, it's up to them what they give us, I understand, but I think we're not going to get less than it. I don't see us getting less than it. So a total potential budget offset total of 1.1 million. That's not bad. And then our proposed 23 budget is 347,528. So potentially you're still looking at around $759,000. I hope I'm not misrepresenting it. I've headache over these numbers, but I think they're correct as far as, like I said, it's potential because I can't. Okay, this is my problem. I do apologize. Like I said, the top numbers are calendar year, the revenue numbers are fiscal year. So I know that's apples to oranges, but it's what I had to work with. We have increased our and enhanced PP over there. So this time next year, you're going to have specific dollar amounts to look at. And yeah, the community service, Mr. Reinhardt wanted to make sure that you all could see the work that they had done through the year over there. And, as our program participation rate grows, the community service hours will grow. So if you, by minimum wage at 75, that was, $29,000 that hopefully saved somewhere. And last but not least, is the salary and wages proposal. You'll see on there that it is up significantly from last request, and the reasons are for in those little gray boxes right there. The difference, total difference in the two last year's and this year's budget is $37,818. So that's the increase we're asking for, and it breaks down in the little gray box there what that's for. One, reallocation, full-time, part-time to full-time, with a slight increase in pay.
Which employee is that?
Tanya Eldridge. She's the program
Oh, I
assistant.
see.
She's beneficial. That her role there is important to the program success on a day-to-day basis. The reception area, plus the collection of monies, plus the, she's the admin commitments and orders, and she sees those, she interprets them, she gets paperwork ready, and when we have new participants come in, right now, they don't sit and wait, we grab them right there. It seems insignificant, but it's a major part of grabbing their attention.
Oh, no, it makes a
And
difference.
getting the participation out of them. She does a lot of work. She helps the case managers basically doing some of the stuff they do. She jumps in and does it. It's absolutely no question that she sees the need in her role to help and what we got going on over there. So like I said, program growth, we're all about it. We're hoping that it's going to happen. I foresee it happening. I don't see us going backwards in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, that's what that breaks down to. So that would be like a salary increase, and then the one reallocation for Ms. Eldridge from part-time to full-time.
So before you go, I took the liberty of telling my colleagues about some of the highlights of the conversation we had. In particular, the one about your idea about possibly opening an office in the Valley. And we like the idea a lot. And also think there may be an opportunity to collaborate with Kanawha County to some extent. You may want to reach out to them because we could probably serve some of their adjacent, residents, because Montgomery is split in half.
From East Bank on down.
Yeah.
The sheriff's attachment.
Well, that's another, thing. It's going to depend on, what's going on with the city of Smithers trying to charge us to work there. Whether it's in Smithers or whether we'll see if Mayor Ingram has room for us over in Montgomery. But I do think it would be worthwhile to reach out to Mayor Ingram and, just see if he's very easygoing, very easy to work with, and just talk to him about space and what you envision, because they regularly ask for assistance with things, with city projects. He's got a lot going on. So he would probably really appreciate, having that
That's wonderful. I'll do that.
down there.
If that's okay, yes, absolutely, I'll do that.
Yeah. And then just whatever you find out, brief the board and let them,
Certainly.
do their thing.
I guess what I'm not putting out there, but we're a homeless shelter, we're a county, we're drug testing. These people have no resources, they really don't. Transportation is the biggest issue for all of them. Transportation is our biggest problem. We really have to have that second part-time driver. There's no way around it. Literally getting our participants there, our entire program hinges on getting them there. We're not doing anything if we don't get them there. So the transportation, and I hate to be boxed in that way. I hate to say it, but it is. So we're working on the transportation. We're going to get the second part-time driver, to get them hired. We're trying to figure out now whether it's be more efficient to do a morning and evening route or for time and wage purpose, or if it's going to be, we figured out that it's going to help us more if we split the route and make it a regional route. And we're going to work from there, but we have to get these folks here. We have so many coming from that area. We have more now coming from the other side of the river as well. So we're not just Fayetteville, Oak Hill. I mean, we've got the whole county. You all realize that. I don't know what I'm saying.
Can you guys put her in touch with the transportation, with the people who run the local shuttles and stuff? So they have certain routes you can look at and see if you're willing to let participants, especially since you're gonna have later hours on sometimes, but if there's enough of a need for them to create another route, we can advocate for that on your behalf.
That would be great. Okay, thank you. But yes, if we don't get them there, we can't help them. And like I said, when you're acting as sometimes the only time they eat is when they come back.
Okay.
So, and somebody getting out of jail, they don't have anything in their house anyway. So see into their basic needs when we first get them, that first day, that first hour out of jail. That's critical. So we do need to give them hygiene. We do need to, and we have some resources for that. And food pantry helps out. I mean, when we send folks over there, we do.
Women's Resource Center at all? Or they just deal with domestic violence?
The food pantry over here, I'm sorry.
I just asked if the Women's Resource Center is providing anything or if they only deal with domestic violence.
We haven't gotten anything from them. I haven't asked them for anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure how broad their mission scope is, but.
So it's going to grow, and the transportation issue as well. I'll be honest, we've got 2 or 3 entities fighting for the same, goal, but we're beating each other down as far as transportation. I found out just last week, that the Scarborough Clinic, they run a van for some of their clients, patients, participants, for certain services. They don't always have the luxury of doing that. I know they have driver issues as well. So sometimes they're on board and sometimes they're not. And, we're always on board. DHHR office over here, they have a great need. Their employees spend this much time driving clients in their own vehicles from point A to point B. A lot of times they're driving from, just from here over to the DHHR, the health department on 19. We are now having our driver, he works his route, but then he also only comes into the center when we have doctor's appointments and things. So we're working with our clients, we're making sure they apply for their leave in advance, their doctor's appointments in advance. We know how to plan for that, and we know which ones have a ride and don't. So we're now using our driver through the day, sometimes to provide transportation for those that don't have it to their doctor's appointments. Like the one lady that is trying to get on the MAT program, the clinic in Oak Hill just happened to have a provider to do a physical on her. She needed one right away. They said they can do it in Beckley. So last week we scheduled that. Yesterday he ran to Beckley in the afternoon. We planned for that. I mean, we're not, I don't want us to run amok, but we have all these entities that have the same need, transportation.
I was wondering if there's any figures that all these entities have on funding that they resource for this, so we all could get a general idea of what each entity has funding for this, and we all get together to put them funds into to use for
Yeah,
transportation.
we could probably get
And
some
one-
MOUs in place.
Yeah, and have one service that may do it all and help fund it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I don't, that's just.
The
that's
department
what-
would save a ton of money if you guys did something like that for them, because they currently run
And
people all
even work
over.
with MTA on this thing too, if we knew what funds or what fund each entity is allocated for this or it cost. Bring all them funds together and then talk to MTA and then see how they can accommodate all the services or steady transportation service in a circle and stuff like
NRT.
that. Yeah, NRT, what there, yeah.
Yes.
In fact, I missed a meeting with them Monday because I was in court all day. So, but yeah, if we could find them, I mean, I don't know whether you could find that out or if we could find that out or how we go about finding that out, but I think that'd be an asset to do.
I
Try to
don't
put
know where
something
to
together.
start.
Yeah, well, Ruth is going to provide you the contact information for NRTA, and then you can look at its current routes. And then once you look at those, maybe look and see if there's something that might help if we even contracted a route for your specific purposes, just.
Amy Arison.
Okay, so, I can't keep up with Amy. But anyway, thank goodness. But anyway, so you've got now, just reach out to them and see what they have. And then what you can work with that they already have. And then if there's something they might add, maybe just find out from them what they say the cost would be.
Absolutely,
And then come back to us.
absolutely. Will do. And I'll reach out to a couple questions. I've got a couple questions in mind for my friends over at DHHR. We're working close with them. That's right. Him right there, not that there's higher visibility, whether they see our building or not, there's higher visibility. So DHHR has really stepped it up. They are sending us the.
Selling office for
referrals like
Heather, really, at
crazy.
NRT.
Before we couldn't bill for them, we didn't have
Send
the
it to her.
referral, but now we get.
Mhm.
the referrals.
Amy emailed it to her already.
Teresa, I want to say I'm very impressed. Very
But
impressed.
thank you. Yeah, me too.
No, it's not, it's, because we got good folks over there. We're a small bunch, but we got some good folks. And when we sit down and we employ the bigger picture concept, now they see what we need to do. And they're on board. We got buy-in. That's the
Good.
battle right there. So, yes, anything we can do, any ideas, any feedback, it's all welcome at any time. So thank you all for your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so
you.
much.
Well, wait there. For your first presentation, you get an A.
Oh,
Yeah, it's great job.
Yeah.
The visuals were outstanding.
Yep.
Easy to understand. I like it.
The record keeping, Dalton just started sending out his monthly report, which before it was just these offenders, these participants in jail, offended, absconded, whatever. We've been wanting that, and he sent out his first new monthly report yesterday, and he got very positive feedback from the judges.
Excellent.
Prosecutor, because we put the dollar. Now, I don't know if the incarceration. We backed up, we started January 1, we got those, we have charges, we do a day. So, it's very easy to see, at any time you all need a current updated number, call us, we can calculate it in about 5 minutes from the week's total, so.
we're tracking. We're
Thank
trying
you.
very hard.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, doing well.
You too.
Okay. So our last item is intentionally nebulous. Because we wanted to discuss a raise for our county administrator who has herself saved us a lot of money, probably several lawsuits, several continuing poor practices. I couldn't even quantify the value she has provided the county in her mere year of serving as county administrator. And I would like to move that we provide her a $10,000 a year raise.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
That is not the discussion I'm talking about.
No,
I know you were very anxious about it. You shouldn't have taken it. Now you screwed yourself by taking it off of the last agenda without telling me.
I was sitting right there too.
For our next discussion, so.
But anyway, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we're out.